working towards passing or getting the marks that are required as per the standards. But if you want to develop skill set that is required for the industry, you will have to because you can just watch YouTube and learn how to do a project in the area field that you're studying. So if you keep doing that, whenever you find time, I think you will be able to develop the skill set.
That's wonderful. Last question for this segment before we listen to a beautiful song.
One of the important things is getting investors. So how do we approach investors when we start something?
So I think investment is not the only criteria for successful startup. Example, our company until now we did not raise any investment because we believed in ourselves and we put all our savings into the company, and we are able to generate profits from day one. We are reinvesting the money that we make in the company, and we're growing. So I want to tell you that because of the media, right? Most of the media attention that is given to startups is X company raised X amount of money. That should not be the media should never publicize this company raised this much money, right? It should say this company did something. They launched so many products. They did something new, right? So because of that, many entrepreneurs are only when they're starting journey, they're thinking, I have to raise money. When there is a need for money, money will automatically come. Because if the company is doing good, investor will be after you. You don't need to be after investor, right? You just have to work hard on the idea that you want to pursue, and keep doing that, and investors will find you.
Wonderful, wonderful takeaway. Investors will find you if you keep doing your great work. Also, remembering the wonderful words of Swami Vivekananda, take risks in your life. If you win, you can lead. If you lose, you can guide. Well, listeners, we have another wonderful guest panelist with us. But before I introduce her and her amazing work that she does, we'll take a small break and we'll be right back. This is Rainbow FM 101.9, All India Radio.
గట్టు దుమ్ములోన పోట్ల గిట్ట దూకినట్టు పొలేరమ్మ జాతరలో పోతరాజు ఊగినట్టు కిర్రు చెప్పులేసుకొని కర్ర సాము చేసినట్టు మర్రి సట్టు నీళ్ళలోన కుర్ర గుంపు కూడినట్టు ఎర్ర జొన్న రొట్టెలోన మిరప తొక్కు కలిపినట్టు నా పాట చూడు నా పాట చూడు నా పాట చూడు నాటు 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 తీర నాటు 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 కూర నాటు 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 పచ్చి మిరపలాగా నాటు 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 పిచ్చు కత్తిలాగా వెర్రి నాటు అదిరిపోయేలా ఢండన కరమోగినట్టు సెవెలు సిల్లు పడేలాగా కీసు గిట్ట కూసినట్టు చేలు సిక్కలేసేలా చెప్పారం సాగినట్టు కాలు సింధు తొక్కేలా దుమ్మారం రేగినట్టు ఒళ్ళు చెమట పట్టేలా వీరంగం చేసినట్టు నా పాట చూడు నా పాట చూడు నా పాట చూడు నాటు 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 వీర నాటు 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 కూర నాటు 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 గంట పారలాగా చెట్ట నాటు 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 ఉప్పుకోతలాగా టిక్క నాటు భూమి తత్తరిల్లేలా ఒంటిలోని రగతమంత రక్కలేసి ఎగిరేలా ఎసే రోయకాయకి నాటు 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 అరే దుమ్ము దుమ్ము దులిపేలా లోపలున్న పానమంతా డుముకులాడేలా దూకేనో సరాసరి నాటు నాటు నాటు
Welcome back to the studios. The studio is absolutely looks like a celebration right here because it's National Youth Day and we have 30 and plus students right here. And this is a live interaction show with the expert panelists, and one of the expert panelists, Vishwanath Kandulagaru, who is the CEO of Vividh, the first and only audio electronic manufacturing company in India, addressed a few questions that were posed by our students right here, and we thank him on behalf of All India Radio. And also I request our station director Uday Shankar Garu to please present a sapling to Vishwanath Garu. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing our studios today and interacting with our students and inspiring us about a startup and the ideas and, of course, this beautiful story of Vividh. Now we have with us another panelist, another expert panelist, who is none other than Ms. Suma Rao, who is a personal coach and counselor, Human Wisdom Ambassador. What a beautiful designation to be in, Human Wisdom Ambassador. Well, she's been personally coaching one-to-one. She's been taking coaching of one-to-one to gain clarity and achieve goals for teenagers and young adults in corporate sector as well. And ma'am is right here to address your questions on various aspects of psychology as well. So Suma Rao ma'am is ICF accredited coach and counseling psychologist, and she believes that the first and foremost relationship we need to build is with ourselves. So let's welcome her with a big, big round of applause. All right, we have our station director of All India Radio presenting a token of appreciation and thank you to Vishwanath Kandulagaru. Please give a big round of applause. Thank you, sir, for coming into our studios, and thank you so much. But our interaction right here will continue. Mental health, one of the most emerging, probably emerging wonderful subject. And also we have a few students who are psychology students right here, yes? Yes. And so what a wonderful time to interact with our expert who's sitting right here. So Suma Rao ma'am, welcome to the show. And could you please give us a little bit of insight as to how much important has mental health become post-pandemic?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I think so. You can. All right. So mental health, not just in the perspective of the pandemic, even otherwise, it's very, very important. And like my introduction also was given here, the statement that says the best and the most important relationship we have is with ourselves. If we do not have a proper relationship with ourselves, it doesn't really matter what you're doing with the rest of the world. And how does that happen? By keeping our mental health agile and active and healthy, right? So post-pandemic things have been bad because pandemic threw us in, totally out of gear. We were not prepared for it. And a lot of us who felt we were extremely strong mentally because of the kind of work we did or, the kind of life journey we had. We thought we had arrived in life. We had seen all the ups and downs and we were prepared for any kind of a, situation that life threw at us. But believe me, it didn't happen that way. The strongest of people, they broke down. And it had become immensely important that we had to start focusing again on ourselves. And to answer your question, it is very, very important right now in the present day scenario. Although we say that the pandemic is over and done with, dried, dusted and everything else, I think we still need to recover. It's like after a tsunami, right? We need to rebuild ourselves.
We're healing.
We are healing. We're still on the journey. We haven't arrived there yet, right? So yes, in the present context, post-pandemic, I think people have started to talk more about mental health. Awareness has grown, which is, I think, long overdue, but finally it has arrived. And this is the best time that we start focusing on it. And some of you being psychology students, I don't know what kind of a life path you might choose eventually, but believe me, this should be one of your critical areas of work, whatever you're doing. Whether you do it for money, whether you do it because you want to do it, make a difference in life and, to the society at large. Choices could be anything on that front. But I think you must follow the passion to help the people and in the process also help yourself. Make yourself mentally healthy and agile. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you so much, ma'am, for coming in. And right now is the time for your questions, students. So, ma'am, these are the students of Telangana Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, and some of them are psychology students, and some of them are pursuing other courses. But most of them have a lot of questions upon mental health. So, should we begin with our question and answer session?
Absolutely.
The first question.
Hello, this is Nabila.
Yeah, Nabila.
In life, we are around many people, right? And dealing with them is not very easy. So, what suggestions would you like to give to people on being empathetic with others?
All right. I think that's a wonderful question that you've asked. And I'm surprised at the kind of timing that this question has. Because just recently, couple of days back, I returned from a course in Vipassana. I don't know how many of you are aware of Vipassana.
Yes, indeed.
So
The
I just
10
came
days
back.
course?
Yeah, the 10 days course. And I was in Igatpuri. Mr. Goyanka, who started the whole Vipassana movement in India, he used to live in Igatpuri. So I had gone there just to feel his vibes and all, although he's no more. So never mind that. So the timing seems to be very appropriate for this question, right? So it is very, very important that we deal with the rest of the world, because like we keep saying, right, we are all social beings. Human beings are social beings. And we have to interact with people. We can't just, closet ourselves in some corner and say, I'm going to close my eyes and be done with it. So what do? You have to make yourself stronger. So like I said, I'll just use a little bit of the Vipassana language because it's fresh on my mind right now. So what you'd say is, you look within. Okay, what is it that's triggering me? And you say, okay, fine, this is something that I can't do anything about. Right? So this is going to keep happening. Now the choice lies with me. Do I want it to keep on annoying me, upsetting me, or, working me up? Or do I want to be a little more matured about it and say, hey, that's a part of life, but it's not my life? Because there's so many facets to it. This is just one element of my life. And how, with kind of equanimity with which you can look at it and say, okay, fine. I make peace with the situation the way it is, but I focus on better things in life. I move on. Does that answer your question, Nabila?
So just to give another perspective, Sumara ma'am is also self-discovery coach. So that question was absolutely very apt. Any further questions, please?
Hello, ma'am. My name is Bhavani.
Sorry, Pavani or Bhavani?
Bhavani.
Bhavani, yeah.
How to motivate ourselves, like how to be self-motivated in every situation of our life.
Thanks for that question, Bhavani. However, I wouldn't say motivate yourself in every situation. Motivation should come from within, irrespective of the situation. How passionate you are about doing whatever it is that you're doing. I'm wondering that if your question has been in context of something that you want to do, or in general, how to motivate yourself. Could you give me that clarity, please, Bhavani? Sorry. In general. How passionate are you about your life? That's my question to you. Are you really passionate about your life? You are. That should be a good reason to be motivated. And believe me, motivation is there within all of us. It's just that, it's covered with so many layers of all kinds of things that society puts on us. And India, unfortunately, we come from a society where the moment the child is born, bada hoke mera beta ye karega, meri beti wo karegi. Right? So you have to unwrap yourself. You're like an onion with different layers that have been put on you, right? The core is something else. So the core is something that you know. Even your parents might not have realized that. You know what exactly drives you, right? And as long as you're following your passion, there is no need for any motivation. There could be failures, stumbling blocks that come, right? Nobody has a path which is all clear and full of roses and you just go. Roses also have thorns, right? So you have to be prepared for them. But then the point here is you don't stop yourself. You just continue to go with the passion that actually, the thought that came to you. And that has kind of taken, it's made a home in your heart and head. This is what I want to do. The moment you're clear about that, you don't need any external motivation. And then I have a mantra. This is something randomly that I had started in one of my training programs, but then the people came back and told me that really works. And I say, I'm good, I can do it. I stand in front of the mirror and then I keep on saying, I'm good, I can do it. That's motivation enough. I don't need any external validation to tell me what I want to do, how I can do. And I always
no problem.
I always believe in what Steve Jobs had said. Fail quick, fail forward. Failing is a part of life. But you want to keep on saying, I'm failed, I have failed, so I'm going to just get stuck here. Or you want to say, okay, fine, this is one thing. I've learned a lesson. Move on. I don't mind failing again. That will be another lesson that I'll learn on my journey. So fail quick, fail forward, and keep continuing to move. Does that answer your question, Bhavani?
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for motivating indeed. As Swami Vivekananda also said, the greatest sin is to think that you are weak. So we're not going to do that sin. We're going to be strong and grow stronger enough. After a very short break, we'll be right back. And stay tuned. This is Rainbow FM 101.9. Rainbow adds colors to your life.
సుడిగుండాలు ఎదురైనా లెక్కించకుదేని ఎదురీదాలి చేరాలి లక్ష్యాలని ఒడ్డున ఉండి రాళ్లేస్తారు నీ పస తెలియని చెత్త జనాలు రత్నంలా నువ్వు తేలిన నాడు మూసుకుపోవా వాకిన నోళ్ళు ఒడ్డున ఉండి రాళ్లేస్తారు నీ పస తెలియని చెత్త జనాలు రత్నంలా నువ్వు తేలిన నాడు మూసుకుపోవా వాకిన నోళ్ళు ముక్క చెక్కలుగా విరిచేయి నీకెదురు పడిన చిక్కులని ఉక్కు రెక్కలతో ఎగరై నిన్ను నమ్ముకున్న నీ కలని అదిగో ఆకాశం నీ హద్దురా తనందే అవకాశం వదలొద్దురా ఇటురా అని చిటికేశావో గెలుపెందుకు దిగి రావాలి నీకు మరి మిగతా వాళ్ళకి తేడా ఎట్టా తెలియాలి గర్వంగా చెప్పుకునేందుకు నీకు ఓ కథ కావాలి చెమటోడ్చి పొందిన విజయం పరిమళమై నిన్ను చేరాలి కన్ను చిన్నగున్నాదంటూ చిన్న కలలు కంటామా లేనిపోని పేదరికంతో వాటికి గిరిగిస్తామా మట్టిలోకి వెళ్ళిపోయామో మళ్ళీ పుట్టి వస్తామా ఉన్నదొక్క జీవితమే ఊరికే వదిలేస్తామా మనసు పెట్టి పని చేస్తూ ఓర్పుతోనే అడుగేసే నీరైన మార్పుగా నేడే సరికొత్త చరితనే రాసేయి
అదన్నే దనదానే 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 దన్నే దనదానే దనదానే దానే దన్నే దనదానే దనదానే దానే దానే తానే దనదానే
Welcome back. This is Rainbow FM 101.9. Rainbow adds colors to your life. We are in live interaction, and well, usually on radio we have an RJ or one guest or two guests, but right here we have 30 students from Koti Women's College, or popularly known as Telangana Mahila Vishwavidyalaya. And that absolutely symbolizes their presence right here. So, as we were interacting with our second guest, who is Suma Rao ma'am, who's a personal coach and counselor and human wisdom ambassador, and some of the question and answers happen, some of the interaction happen, and right now with us, joining us, is another wonderful entrepreneur who's an inspiration to hundreds, thousands, and probably more students and women entrepreneurs. She's none other than Deepthi Ravala. She's Chief Executive Officer and Founding Chief Executive Officer of India's first and only physical incubator by government for women entrepreneurs. Well, that is WeHub indeed. WeHub believes in ideate, implement and inspire. Let's welcome Deepthi Ravala ma'am with a big round of applause. Welcome Deepthi ma'am. We would like to say a few words about how WeHub has started and what is the inspiration that we can draw from WeHub and the success story of WeHub.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here and wishing all of you a very wonderful International Youth Day. National Youth Day. So I head WeHub, and the story of WeHub is quite simple. It started in 2017. I don't know how many of you remember, but for the first time ever in India, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit was conducted, and it is a entrepreneurship summit that is conducted in conjunction with the United States government. And Hyderabad was the proud host for that event. And at that event, there were about 2,500 women entrepreneurs from across the world, and the theme was Women First and Prosperity for All. So while as a state, which is a startup state, as our Honourable Minister always keeps talking about it, so instead of just talking about what more we can do for women, an announcement was made that we'll create India's first and only state-led incubator for women entrepreneurs, and that's how WeHub was formed. And I was actually in the audience at that point in time thinking, who will be the person who will be taking on such an arduous task? And little did I know, 3 months later, I was asked to head WeHub, and I've been there for the past 5 years.
Now, that is how opportunities knock your door, and that is how improv happens in life, and then magic happens. So, Deepthi Ravala ma'am is here. And she insists on not calling her ma'am, of course. And we have Suma Rao Garu, a personal coach, and who is an expert in mental health and dealing with mental health issues. And we have Deepthi Ravala Garu, who is an expert again in entrepreneurship and startups and a lot more. And Deepthi Garu has to say, these students are from Women's College, so all women right here. So definitely you would have a lot of questions, lot of enthusiasm and curiosity. So please begin. Let's begin the live interaction show. Question and answers to our both amazing panelists right here. One is an expert psychologist and one is a chief executive officer of a startup. So, any questions?
Or somebody who's extremely quiet and introverted, likes to keep to himself or herself, suddenly has become very articulate and wants to do random things which are very, very out of the way for that person. So these are the telltale signs. And sometimes they will talk about self-harm, how I can do this or how I can do that, and there could be some hypothetical situations that they might tell what would happen if I jump from there, Or do you think it's going to be like this? You know, so, and they'll all sound like jokes or some random things that they're saying. But then if you're really connected with that person, I mean, like somebody that you're really close to, you know that that person doesn't talk like this usually. That's the time you take them aside to have a conversation with them. And most of the time they'll all tell you because, you know, I'm fine. Like,
probably there are a few red flags that we see during the conversations. Yes,
right?
yes.
And I think, like they keep on saying, you know, I'm fine is the biggest lie that anybody can tell you. So you should be able to look through that lie. That's how it helps. Sometimes people are aware of themselves, you know, like they know that they're going downhill somewhere and they want to seek help. And most of the time it's the stigma that is attached. The moment you say I have mental health issues, they don't want to take action because they think it's going to be some kind of a, you know, some kind of a brand that's going to be labeled to them and is going to stick to them for the rest of their lives. But I don't think you need to fear that, especially because you guys are all psychology students. You understand it's not all about going cuckoo, right? Mental health is a lot about how you're able to deal with your life, how you're able to deal with the situations that are coming up or cropping up in your life. That's what it is. And most of you would also understand that every human being at some point or the other has some chemical reaction going wrong in their head.
Probably the reduction of oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins and everything.
And it's a chemical reaction gone wrong, so there's no taboo to it. It's just that people think, oh, they've gone to visit a psychiatrist, there's got to be something wrong, mental health. You know, that's the word that they keep using, mental person, pagal hai. No, it's not like that. A seemingly well-off person who's got everything, you know, rolled out like a red carpet in front of them could also be dealing with mental health issues. Again, the red flags that you need to look out for. Behavior which is not consistent with them on a regular basis. Doing things which are totally out of character for them. Or coming and, you know, talking to you in a joking manner in terms of how they can harm themselves. Or talking too much about, you know, if I'm not there, how are you going to be?
So probably when these red flags happen, so what is the first thing that we could say is that they should seek for help? They should look for help.
The first thing is to give them a safe space to talk.
Okay.
Because any psychological issue, most of the time can be sorted out unless it's a very extreme one where they need to be, you know, using medicines or any other kind of interventions. But believe me, most of the time, especially for the youngsters, because they don't know any better, right? So they know that they need help, but they can't articulate it. So maybe it's for you to look around and say, hey, you know what, there's a safe space. I'm not going to be talking about whatever you tell me, it stays with me. It remains with me. Right? Because most of the time people do not confide because they're worried that if I say something, maybe they're going to talk about it to somebody else, or maybe they're going to make fun of me or whatever. So give them a non-judgmental and a safe space to talk. And if further than that you think that, you know, they need better help than what you can give them, guide them to people. I think Roshni, there's an organization in Hyderabad, right? It's a NGO. And they do a fantastic job. Maybe the best thing is to guide them towards that. Like I said, if you reach out to a psychiatrist, then they'll brand you to be something you're not. So reach out to all these NGOs which are already working in that space. And that should be a good enough idea to start off with. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you for answering that question, Sumarao Garu. And yes, so to put in a nutshell, awareness, keep watching the red flags, and yes, you can help someone who needs help at that point of time. Any further questions? All right.
Hello ma'am, I'm Kiran Bhartwal. So my question to you is, do you have any observation or reasons regarding why this generation is more depressed?
Thanks. Okay. Let's not generalize about this generation, but what you say is true, that we see most of the cases coming out in the open in the present scenario. So maybe because as a society we have kind of opened up to the idea of all these things, and we are more open to address them, right? And the second half of that question, I think your generation is more in terms of, you know, instant gratification. It's all about, pardon the usage of the word, but I think our lives have become very shallow. We always need external validation. That's the reason why Instagram profiles, the more the likes, the better you feel about yourself. Self-esteem has gone to the dogs, literally, and only the likes seem to define us. I think that's one of the reasons why this generation is having such issues.
Absolutely. Another question that we have right here for Deepti Rawala Garu.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Vandana. My question is to you. What is the message you want to give to the youth today as it is National Youth Day?
It's something that is always there, right? Be motivated, be driven. It's not working. Yeah, the message is quite simple. Be motivated, be well researched, and make sure that you as as somebody who's heading an entrepreneurial initiative, the goal is quite simple. Think about how you can be a job creator rather than a job seeker. I think that is one thing that I would like to request a lot of the young people to think about. And one more additional thing that we would like to also talk about is that when you actually become an entrepreneur or when you try to become a job creator, you're actually looking at how you can actually change the lives of the community around you. So think beyond just you. Think about the community. Think about the nation. And as the people who will be taking all of us forward for the next 40 years. And if you are more responsible, I think what more can we ask for?
Thank you. And I think the best that we could do is appreciate by clapping. Yes, I think Deepthi ma'am, the answers are so thoughtful, and that they're just lost in the thoughts of thinking what and how to stay motivated. So, any more questions on entrepreneurship? Any more questions about? All right, the mic is coming to you.
Hello, this is Nabila. I would like to ask you about the people who are afraid of the first step. There are people who are perfectionists and they want to complete their work and then start things. So what would you like to tell them?
It's the first thing is, as I think Suma ma'am has actually already spoken about, is the first thing is to actually get started. And when you want to be a perfectionist, you come to a place like WeHub, where we'll tell you that it's okay to fail, and there is a community of people who are looking forward to fail together. I think you need to find the group of people for that. And last and most important thing is that how will you know whether you'll be successful or not if you don't start? I think that is one thing you always need to keep in mind. So keep starting. Keep failing beautifully so that you will not fail the same way the next time. So as a person with immense experience in failing, I can tell you that the best failures or the failures that you have in life make for the best stories when you're older. So be a person with more stories than a person with just basic life, right?
Be a person with more stories. Indeed, beautiful and amazing. We'll be right back with this live interaction, which is amazingly interesting. We have a counseling psychologist on one side and an entrepreneur who is giving us an inspiration. Probably down the lane we would probably start something like WeHub. Man, this competition coming right there. Alright, so this is All India Radio Rainbow FM 101.9. We'll be right back after a beautiful track. Stay tuned and keep listening.
అది ఒక ఉదయం ఆశలను తడిమిన సమయం ఆ క్షణమే పిలిచాను హృదయం లే అని లే అని చిల్లుమని చల్లని పవనం ఆ వెనకే తెచ్చని కిరణం అందరిని తరిమెను త్వరగా రమ్మని రారమ్మని వేకువే వేచిన వేళలో లోకమే కోకిలై పాడుతుంది. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. అది ఒక ఉదయం, ఆశలను తడిమిన సమయం, ఆ క్షణమే పిలిచాను హృదయం లే అని, లే లే అని. సాగించేటి చిలిపి చిందులు, కొంటి చేష్టలు, పెద్దల ఎంట బయట మాపై విసిరే చింది విసురులు, కొన్ని కసురులు. ఎంతైనా వానైనా ఏం తేడా లేదు, ఆగవండి బ్రోకు గంతులు. కోరికలు, నవ్వులు, బాధలు, సందడులు, సంతోషాలు పంచుకోమన్నది ఈ అల్లరి 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 జీవితం. Life is beautiful, 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 life is beautiful. సాయంత్రం అయితే కాలు చిన్న పెద్ద రోడ్డు మీదనే మస్తు వేయటం. దివాళీ, హోలీ, క్రిస్మస్ భేదం లేదు, పండగంటే పందిళ్ళు వేయటం. ధర్నాలు రాస్తారు కోలెన్నకున్న మమ్ము చేరదే లేవు ఏ క్షణం. మా ప్రపంచం ఇది మాదిది, ఎన్నడూ మాకే సొంతం. సాగిపోతున్నది ఈ రంగుల 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 జీవితం. Life is beautiful, life is beautiful, life is beautiful, life is beautiful. Life is beautiful, 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 life is beautiful.
గుండె దాటి గొంతు దాటి పలికిందేదో వైనం, మూడు వారిన మనసులోనే పలికిందేదో ప్రాణం.
పొంగిన ఆనందం, కాలంతో పరిహాసం చేసిన స్నేహం. భక్తులు దాటి, హద్దులు దాటి, జగములు దాటి, యుగములు దాటి. సమంతి ఒక పాశం, రుణ పాశం, ప్రీతి విలాసం. సమంతి ఒక పాశం, రుణ పాశం, ప్రీతి విలాసం. తోడు నీడైపోతా ఉంటే చాలు రాత్రి పగలు లేదు కలిసే కరు ఇది
ఆటల్లోనే పాటల్లోనే వెలసిందేదో స్వర్గం రాజే నేడు వంటైపోయిన రాజ్యం నీకే సొంతం
12th of January, National Youth Day 2023. All India Radio is celebrating a marathon of programs from 7 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. And right now, you're listening to one of a wonderful inspirational program, and this is a live interaction with the students of Koti Women's College. A big round of applause for joining with us today. And with our students are two experts right here. Deepthi Raulagaru, who's the founding CEO of India's first and only physical incubator, which is Vividh, and it is for women entrepreneurs. She's also an engineer, and she's been answering questions in this live interaction. Along with her, we have Suma Raugaru joining. She's a personal coach, a psychology counselor, and human wisdom ambassador. And we have our students right here asking various questions, and also these questions are indeed answering a lot of questions of our listeners who are listening to us right now, probably from different corners of the world, because News On Air app that we have, we can listen to All India Radio Rainbow FM from anywhere in the world. So right now we'll continue with our questions. Any further questions right now?
Hello ma'am, good evening. This is Saida Safa asking for you. I wanted to ask you, during our adulting phase, we have a lot of difference of opinions from our parents. How do we convince them? How do we get on the same boat with them?
I think both the experts can answer this question different ways.
I'm a parent myself. My son is 23 years old. And your parents are going to kill me for this, so please do not tell them where I live. I always believe that, and also do not misuse what I'm saying. Okay, just try to take it with a lot of equanimity and try and understand where I'm coming from. I always believe that the parents are the ones who chose to have the children. The children didn't choose to be born. So it's the parents who need to be a little more patient, a little more forgiving, a little more non-judgmental, and a little less rigid in terms of what they think. Having said that, you are a different generation, right? So there's a lot of gap between what your parents went through and what you guys are going through. you also need to understand that your parents are coming from a place of wisdom that you haven't reached yet. They've seen a lot of things happening in life. They have learned the lessons. And my advice to my son while he was in that phase was, there are lessons, there are the kind of things that all of us do as youth. But the outcome is always the same. It's like from a certain point A to a certain point B, when you start your journey, you know exactly where you're going to reach, right? There's not going to be a surprise in that. So I always tell the students or the youngsters also, the place from your parents are coming is a kind of wisdom that they have already seen. They know you take this path, this is the outcome. So you make mistakes, but then make different mistakes. Don't repeat it. So when they're trying to tell you this is what is going to happen, or this may not be the most appropriate thing to do, or you need to, revisit your thoughts in terms of what you want to do, listen to them because they mean the best for you. You could have mentors, you could have a lot of people who motivate you, you could have your siblings, friends, whatever. You could have your biggest cheerleaders in the world, but none can beat your parents. They're the ones who unconditionally want the best for you, right? So have the same kind of a patience that I'm telling your parents to have. They do not understand the kind of world that you're living in. Because every day, it's such a volatile world, things are changing, very dynamic. The parents also need some time to adjust to that, right? So have the patience. You guys show the maturity that you think your parents are lacking. And I think that's what's going to be sorted. Thank you.
Thank you. But Sumara Garu, I wanted to kind of put forward a question. So when it comes to parent and child interaction, most of the women, girls, are convinced by the parents to start a family, get married, and then take up career. Deepti ma'am is also giving a smile. So, and then take up career. So, mostly, sometimes this puts us in a confusion that we don't want to upset our parents. Also, we don't want to leave our dreams of becoming what we want to become. So, how can we deal with that? I think you as well and Deepti ma'am as well should give her views on this.
Yeah, Deepti, would you like to go first?
Yes, the simplest approach. So, interesting question. So, one of the interesting things of being a woman in career is the fact that if you choose to have a family, again, if you choose to, everything is a choice, right? If you choose to have a family and choose to have a career, they often end up happening between the same 10 years, between 25 to 35, usually, right? So, if I may, ma'am, to your question, one of the things to your question as well that you previously asked, how do you convince? So don't do anything to convince anybody or counter anybody, because nothing speaks like success. I think keeping your head down and working consistently, and you don't have to answer in words. Nothing speaks louder than actions as well. So being successful, because even to date, my mother still does not understand why I'm still being a new person every 5 years. She was like, US, you're already there, life is there, 2 kids, family and all that. And then I come back suddenly and I'm like, I'm struggling, I'm hustling. So the point is, instead of trying to explain to her, I say that this is what I'm doing. I love you. Are you with me? And she's like, what other option do I have? But every day that she keeps on seeing that what I'm trying to do, she understands a little bit more. So instead of countering her, I'm telling her that I'm with you. Please support me for the next few years while I try out something. That is something that has always worked, even in terms of marriage. And I do the same with my mother-in-law as well. So it works on all in-laws.
Just say, I love you, believe in me, and I will work towards my dreams, and you will see me succeed. Because parents want us to succeed by the end of the day, right? Suma ma'am, what is your take on this?
I think I would echo Deepti's thoughts on the same thing. However, it's not easy. You can keep on telling them, till you go hoarse, I love you, but please give me the chance to try it out. But then there are times when you just need to be a bulldozer, especially women in India. We sometimes, when we have conviction of our own ideas, when you're passionate about something and you really want to go ahead and do it, you just turn into a bulldozer. That's the only thing. And like Deepti said, same scenario in my house too. My mother is conflicted between, my daughter being the virtue of being the best housewife in town or whatever. And also at the same time, she flips the coin and she says, I want my child to be successful. For her, I'm still a child. I'm 52, but still a child. So she says her child needs to be successful. Now, my question to her at times, when I ask her, do you want me to be a successful housewife? Well, how do you see success? Because my success, I see somewhere else. I see the success in the kind of people that I've helped. When I see the joy in their faces, when they see some kind of a clarity, oh my Lord, I was in such a confused state, and now suddenly I see my path very clearly. That to me is success. That gives me immense joy. Now, what exactly do you want? I don't understand what you're saying, but as long as you're happy. So ultimately, that's her goal, that I should be happy. But then she's also, social beings, India being the kind of society we are, we have this pressure to, match up to what the others expect from us. And as parents, we want that people should be talking about our children in the highest of manner, the best, whatever. And suddenly they don't realize that, what you're doing, every step you're doing, you have been better than yesterday. That's what you need to believe in. And that's what, like Deepti said, eventually they will see it. But while you are, walking your path, just be a bulldozer at times. They are with you on the journey, fantastic. They're not, they will.
I want to add one thing to Suma's point. Not be a bulldozer all times at work, but be very kind to your parents.
Yes, because they love you and they want the best from you. Our last question, we've been having this interaction for 2 hours now, and our last question for this evening to our guest panelists.
Hello ma'am, myself Farhan Oshin. The word we say, entrepreneurship, we just feel the whole men world. That's obvious. But as a woman, how do you advise us to break that barrier and come up with new ideas and enter to that world?
That's for Deepti Ravala Garu to answer for sure.
The word entrepreneurship is associated with men because too few women are there, right? But to break that, we need more women to do it. And the solution to how to do it is to just get started. The reason is we can sit here and talk about how the world is unfair, or walk it and say that it may be all these, but see, I've sorted it. I think again I will belabor the same point that I've made before. Get started. Get started. Get started. Get started. That is all you need to do. And I know you want me to. But as a product placement, I also have to say, if you want to come up with new ideas and all that, make sure you reach out to, there is a lot of brilliant teachers that you have around you. So the first thing is find a mentor for yourself. Because a lot of ideas stay ideas in our echo chamber, which is this right here, the head, because we do not discuss it as much. So find a mentor for yourself, somebody you can discuss with. It might be a peer, it might be a teacher, it might be something else. First thing. Second thing also is make sure you reach out to VHub, because our entire premise, the reason we are set up by the government of Telangana, is to make sure that more and more young people, young women especially, from all communities, come forward and say that I want to do this. And last and most important thing, don't think any idea is small. If you think your ideas are small, then aspirations will be small and your impact will be very small. And the most important thing is it will die its own slow death. So make sure you come out.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words. We come to the end of the question and answer interaction, and I would request our guest panelist Suma Rao Garu to please speak a few words as a takeaway for us. And this is National Youth Day being celebrated by All India Radio. Hence, ma'am, would you like to say a few words?
Certainly. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to say my words. First thing is, like we always say, right? It's the world is for the youth. You are the ones who are going to take it forward, whether it be the country or the world or, everything else rests on your shoulders. You got a massive task ahead of you. Having said that, don't feel the pressure. Follow your dreams. Because if you stop dreaming, that's the end of us, right? Any big invention that happened, it started off with a dream. A small little niggling question in the head. That's when you started to work on it, and that's how things started to happen, right? And you have the luxury of being the youth. You have the luxury of age in front of you. You have the opportunities. We hub, he hub, she hub, any other hub, everything is there at your feet today. So don't stop yourself. Dream big, like they keep saying, right? Aim for the moon. At least you'll end up with the stars. But if you said, no, I think I'm just going to hit the stratosphere and come back, you'll never even take that step, right? So aim for the moon. Be happy even if you get the stars, because at least that was a journey that you took, instead of having the regrets and saying, hey, I never did anything at all in life, right? The worst thing in life is, I wish I had. You have the opportunity. Do it. And failure is no longer a stigma, right? Failure is just a step. Move ahead. And like I said, International Day of the Youth, Swami Vivekananda, he took India to the world. And he made them realize that there is this one country, although we think it's a backward snake charmer's country, there's so much of wisdom there, right? Use all the wisdom that is here. It's all available for you. Whether it be your teachers or your neighbors, your parents, your aunts, anybody and everybody. You learn from every experience in life, right? And that's the best part of your life right now, where you are. You know, your age is your best asset at this moment. Utilize it to the best that you can and never shy away from failure. And like, I think earlier question, I forget who asked that question, but apparently every minute there are 1,000 people across the world who get the same idea. It's a statistic which has been proven. God, don't ask me who proved it. I proved it. But nonetheless, right? So imagine 1,000 people getting the same idea, but only 1 or 2 succeed. Why is that? Because they took some action towards that thought. Otherwise, it's like, just building castles in the air without the foundation. So build your foundation. And then again, I'll sum it up with a few questions that I had answered earlier, right? Don't look for external validation. Build your core. Build the substance that you have. The moment people see that substance that you got, nobody's going to come in your way to stop you from chasing your dreams. So dream big, go big, and never stop with failure. Right?
Wonderful, valuable words from none other than Sumarao Garu, who's a personal coach and a counseling psychologist. Indeed, hope you take these words of wisdom not only on National Youth Day, but every day, and hope you take these words to your college back there and also share on social media about these learnings. So now we have Deepthi Ravula Garu. I request you to please say a few words, our final takeaway for this celebration.
Congratulations, I think, to all of you for being young people in a very dynamic and changing world. And congratulations to all of you for also weathering 2 years of the pandemic that I think all of our generations combined have seen. So congratulations on weathering that. And one thing I want you to think about is that we have a population of 1.3 billion. And if we look at it, I think we're going to supersede our neighbor in a very short time. But you also know that the average age of India is 29. Making it one of the youngest countries. So a lot of our trust and our enthusiasm is with the young people of India today. And for that, there is an entire thing that Sumaji has already spoken about. There is a lot of opportunities for everything. But the first thing I would like to personally request all of you is to make sure that, take initiative and see things through. That is the biggest takeaway. Not just starting. Starting is fun. But closing something successfully is much more fun. So wishing you a lot more success and look forward to all the brilliant change that you guys will be bringing forward, not just in India, but across the world. So wishing you all the very best and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those wonderful words. The Chief Executive Officer, the founding CEO of India's first and only physical incubator by government for women entrepreneurs, WeHub, and that was Deepthi Ravula ma'am for you. And a big round of applause to both the panelists. And now I would request our station director of All India Radio to please present a token of appreciation and thank you. A wonderful sapling to Sumarao ma'am. Please keep the applause going. We have our team who curated the National Youth Day 2023 here at All India Radio. A marathon of programs from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. We have our entire team here appreciating Deepthi Ravula ma'am with a sapling. I'm good. All right, keep the applause going. Taking out time, being with us here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us and being a part of our celebration at All India Radio National Youth Day. Now, over to the studios. Thank you so much. And the marathon is going to continue until 7:30 p.m. This is Rainbow FM 101.9 and I am Jayashree.
మీరు ఇప్పటి వరకు శ్రీమతి